Since Drake Maverick has been on WWE television, WWE is promoting so much of Drake Maverick. A lot of people are on social media talking about whether or not this is a work. And a lot of people think it is, but we have some major updates on this situation and what this could mean for the future of Drake Maverick. Welcome to DPW.
Get notified every time a new video drops. Make sure you click that subscribe button and ring the bell for more pro wrestling news.
You have arrived at your destination.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ango. You guys already know the drill. All of the links will be in the description if you guys want to become a member of DPW Plus. You guys want to leave a tip, follow social media, all that stuff is in the description down below. Now, with that being said, today's video is a highly controversial topic streaming along the world of pro wrestling because, as you guys know, Drake Maverick was one of the 30 plus WWE superstars who were released from their contract last week, yet he is still working for WWE. Now, a lot of people in this situation have said that it is a work. I mean, literally, the tweets that I'm getting is, it's a work, bro. And I totally understand where everybody is coming from, and it very well could be. That is kind of the beauty of pro wrestling. Sometimes you really just don't know what is real and what is scripted. And in this situation in particular, it's, at least in my mind, I don't think there's been a situation where WWE has really worked us in terms of an actual release, you know, with an actual press release and stuff like that. I mean, we all kind of thought WWE was working us when Dean Ambrose was released, and then we actually saw that it was not a work, and obviously Jon Moxley was born in AEW. So the whole situation with Drake Maverick really raises some questions. As you guys know, prior to the release, Drake Maverick was actually advertised for the WWE Cruiserweight Interim Championship. So it was the Interim Cruiserweight belt because Jordan Devlin from NXT UK obviously can't come to the States during this entire time period. So international travel is banned, therefore Devlin can't come to the States, therefore they're having a tournament for the interim title. And I actually really like the concept of this tournament. So far from what we've seen on NXT TV, I think the work has been very incredible. And I love when WWE does tournaments, so credit is given where credit is due, especially at a tricky time period such as this one. But of course, with Drake Maverick being released by WWE, only for him to be advertised for his upcoming match against Jake Atlas, a lot of people were very, very much on the... They were on the side of the spectrum where they just don't believe it, and I totally understand why. Now, it has been reported that Drake Maverick was, in fact, released by WWE. A lot of people are saying that WWE was willing to push this as a storyline even further because Drake Maverick's immediate response to his release. So if you guys didn't see it, it is still up on Twitter. Drake Maverick made a video, obviously in tears, clearly distraught from the news that he was released from the WWE. And because of this, WWE saw how much traction that got, and they wanted to kind of take advantage of it. Now, as you guys know, as part of the 90-day non-compete clause, WWE superstars are still paid for 90 days. And in this situation, typically WWE never really has a guy working during their 90-day no-compete clause. I'm going to assume mostly due to the fact that we do have a national global pandemic happening. I mean, this thing is literally happening globally. I think WWE obviously having a talent who is local, somebody they could depend on, is a reason why they're going to put him to work. So it is being said that Drake Maverick is being put into work during his 90-day window. But this is where things get a little bit tricky. There are a lot of rumors out there that suggest this could be the one way WWE can overturn their decision to release Drake Maverick. And with Drake Maverick looking impressive throughout this tournament, there is an opportunity that WWE can not only have this as a storyline, but actually bring him back into the company. So I think a lot of times when people are saying it's a work, I totally understand where they're coming from. But at the same time, too, I don't think WWE is working us intentionally. I don't think them signing Drake Maverick again is something that they actually intend to do. But as you guys know, pro wrestling is based on reaction. So I think if you are somebody who is a fan of Drake Maverick and you want to see him in WWE, after all, this guy has done a lot of impressive stuff. Regardless of what WWE has given him in the company, we all have seen him do some incredible stuff for the company. I think this is the time to rally behind a guy like Drake Maverick because as of right now, it is not a work. This is not a situation where WWE intended on any of this happening. But I think as things kind of happen, it just naturally happened that they were going to continue using him. And rightfully so. They're obviously paying him. So if you're going to pay him, you might as well get your money's worth. Obviously, social media attention for WWE has been really hot with the topic of Drake Maverick. And somebody who's not necessarily a top WWE star kind of gaining that traction through social media is a very big plus for WWE. It's brought a lot of attention to the NXT brand. But my question to you guys, is this worth it? And the reason why I ask that is because NXT actually lost to AEW this week in ratings. So I don't know if WWE kind of saw this as a ratings ploy, obviously seeing that kind of attention being given to Drake Maverick. I don't know if WWE saw this as a situation like, hey, we need to beat AEW. Drake Maverick could very well help us with that. Let's see what happens. But obviously, I don't think that actually helped them because, again, they lost to AEW. Now, the previous 2 weeks, AEW actually lost to NXT in terms of total viewership. So because viewership had gone down this time, obviously the plan of keeping Drake Maverick on the show did not draw any ratings compared to AEW, which in its own is a very, very difficult thing to analyze because AEW's main event was Dustin Rhodes versus Kip Sabian. So that main event ended up beating out NXT. So I think I'm just kind of at the situation where I don't necessarily know what WWE expected, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if WWE expected to beat AEW. But nonetheless, the situation is this. Drake Maverick is not currently signed with WWE. He is technically a free agent. He is working his 90-day non-compete clause. What I do predict will happen, and this will further your guys' arguments that it is, in fact, a work. I think Drake Maverick will earn his job back. I think clearly his talent speaks for itself. I think him getting that social media reaction was really good on his end. And I think you're going to see a lot of heart in his next match. And I think we're going to see a lot of storytelling from WWE in regards to the situation where I think they're kind of going to make it obvious that it just makes sense to sign him. I think WWE would be really... I think WWE is terrible, by the way, for releasing so many people during a pandemic. But I think this is a way for them to right their wrong. I think this is a way to see... for them to see that they've done something wrong and they can go back and bring them back. Now, the thing about pro wrestling that is very tricky is there is no indie scene right now. And for the foreseeable future, unless you're signed to AEW or WWE, probably not going to be working that many dates, if any. So I think this is a situation where I think, truthfully, WWE will bring him back. But again, it's going to further the argument that this was a work. I don't think it was a work. I don't think it was intended to be a work. I think WWE saw this as a way to try to beat AEW. It obviously didn't work. Is that something that they would take out on Drake Maverick? I know that sounds silly, but if WWE is trying to beat AEW and, maybe if the ratings were bigger than AEW, maybe Drake Maverick would have been given his job back immediately because obviously the response was so big. But that is not what happened. So WWE did, in fact, release Drake Maverick. It's not some fake thing. It actually did happen. I think the emotions and stuff that you saw from Drake Maverick on Twitter were very much legitimate. And I think WWE knows ultimately, based on the social media reaction, this is a guy that should not be released. The only problem that I have, though, is none of those people really should have been released. And I think you can't just do this for Drake Maverick and not do it for anybody else. I've seen a lot of people on social media say that Drake Maverick cried his way back to WWE. He isn't signed with the WWE, so as of right now, that's not very accurate. But ultimately, time will tell what happens. I personally think Drake Maverick should be in WWE, but if not, the idea of Drake Maverick being with EC3 somewhere in pro wrestling makes sense. So, if this is Drake Maverick leaving WWE on a very good note, then that's good for Drake Maverick because that's only going to help his stock sign, whether or not he signs with AEW. So I just want to make that very clear that this was an actual release. But WWE has a tendency to let people go, and on their way out, they tend to make them look really good. So hopefully WWE learned from Matt Hardy. Hopefully WWE learned from EC3. Hopefully WWE learned from Jericho and Moxley. And, I think if WWE can learn from those things, Drake Maverick is back in the company. But history has an odd way of repeating itself. WWE isn't always the smartest when it comes to that. So ultimately, I don't know what to expect, guys, but I'm very intrigued to see what the future holds for Drake Maverick and the NXT brand. With that being said, guys, the tip jar, Facebook, Instagram, social media links, all that stuff in the description down below. And if you guys want to become a DPW member, go ahead and click the link. Click join and learn more about the perks. All right, guys, hopefully you all stay safe. And if you guys want more news, make sure you subscribe to Destination Pro Wrestling.
Get notified every time a new video drops. Make sure you click that subscribe button and ring the bell for more pro wrestling news.
You have arrived at your destination.